So she's scrubbing through some leaves and the sediment at the bottom of the stream. And she's scrubbing some rocks to try and release macroinvertebrates. And then they're going to flow downstream into the net. And then we're going to pick them out of the net later on, and we're going to identify them. See what she's doing with her feet. You kind of kick up the sediment to kind of release whatever macroinvertebrates are living in the sediment. And then you turn the net over on top of a bucket and you wash the macroinvertebrates down with stream water, and they get caught in that bucket. And the bottom of the bucket has a screen, a sieve, so it lets the water out, but it keeps the macroinvertebrates in the bucket. So that's what they're doing now. Now they're rinsing off leaves that fell in there, making sure they got all the macroinvertebrates off the leaves. Those are leaves that went into the net and that got dumped into the bucket. They're just making sure they didn't leave any macroinvertebrates behind. Get it? Leave. Okay. I can't wait to see what macroinvertebrates we found. So now they're doing it again in a different part of the stream, picking up rocks, scrubbing the rocks, making sure all the macroinvertebrates that were living on the rocks come loose and go into the net. And they flow into the net easily because the water is flowing downstream into the net from where she's kicking up the sediment and pulling up and scrubbing the rocks. So she is washing all the sediment and macroinvertebrates from the net into that bucket. Now, normally they would do this at about 20 different spots in the river, but today we're just going to do it one per person, one spot in the stream per person. Ultimately, the goal is to catch and identify and count 100 macroinvertebrates. That is the goal. And that is how we're going to get the stream quality score later on. So this is a riffle. Riffles are areas of a stream where there are a whole lot of rocks, and then the water is turbulent going over those rocks. So riffles are where you're going to look for the macroinvertebrates, because the macroinvertebrates like to live on and under rocks. So these riffles in the stream are the perfect location. So this is another section of riffles. Notice how there are a lot of rocks in here and the water is turbulent around those rocks. There's also accumulations, piles of leaves. So the macroinvertebrates are going to be living around those clumps of leaves as well. So these are perfect areas for looking for macros. They found a crayfish.
It's like a mummified turtle.
Okay, so what they did was they took that bucket that had the screen on the bottom and they emptied it into this bucket here that is a regular bottom bucket. And now they're taking sub-samples with these little plastic containers.
Yep, there's the boy.
Oh, wow.
Right?
And the crawfish will try and escape, so we can bring
So within this sub-sample, they're taking spoons and then they're looking for the macros. So here there's one on the spoon, and then they're going to go ahead and identify them.
So normally you would look at it and then kind of dump it back in the bucket once you look at it.
Is it
There's an
gonna,
on button.
Is it going to crawl out of the plastic container?
It'll
Let's
probably
see.
He's been trying. I don't think he can.
All right.
Oh, is it going to?
He might. He's figuring it
All
out.
right. So, what time did we start? 2:15. I'll put 2:15. Please.
Cool. What's that?
Should we dump him in the tray?
Yeah,
You want them in the tray?
Yeah, we could put them in the tray.
I got it.
Okay. You sure?
Yep. This time I got it.
Should we give them more water? I got excited about a leaf.
There's another one.
We could put them in here.
Ooh, what's the orange guy again? Caddisfly?
Yeah. We both have the same one?
No, I think so. No, wait. Yours is a caddis. It's a different colored caddis.
Okay. Do we want him in here?
Yeah, you can put him in here. See it? I wonder if it's like a little tadpole or something. Alexandrian. There's like a little dot with like a little.
I think it's just a really small fish. Because it has, yeah, I think it's just a really small fish because that's the way they do it.
But I don't think
It's pretty sweet.
there was other.
Oh.
That's the crane.
Really pick up on the bottom.
Okay. I got two.
Yeah, if it moves like that, it's oh, come here. Oh. Online, I lost it. The one that looks like a shrimp that's going sideways.
Yes. All right.
This guy swims pretty quickly.
I don't know if this actually is.
Oh, crayfish is trying to escape.
So I would let the water settle for a little bit, and if there's still stuff moving around, like so it's a live thing. That's moving around. You can also feel like something. A little fluffy, but with a tree.
Found the caddisfly.
What kind? This one's another
The orange one.
Which one?
Said it. Caddisfly, right?
Yeah. So there's case builder. So that's a case builder.
Oh.
The darker colored one.
Another tiny caddisfly.
Okay, so here is a tally sheet. So for each macro, they're marking off how many they find. And then that information goes into the spreadsheet. And then the spreadsheet calculates and lets us know how healthy the stream is. So it's easier to look at the macros when you put them in these ice cube trays. And they're grouping them by type. So like you can have a few of one type in each little section of the ice cube tray.
Kind.
I think it's a net. Yeah.
The dog colored one.
Yep. Ooh, and it's not
Itchy.
Oops, I just fell.
Whoa, look at how much it extends like that.
It's long. It's like 3 inches long. Or for their host, because they're ectoparasites. So they move by looping, so you can see that it attaches one end before it moves its other end.
I just love how like slinkies they are.
Woo!
Now you're gonna fall.
This is a compilation of all of the data of all of the macroinvertebrates that were collected at a stream. So this is the spreadsheet for high gradient streams. And you enter the numbers from that tally sheet that I showed you a minute ago. And you have pollution intolerant organisms, pollution sensitive organisms, and pollution tolerant organisms. So when you enter the numbers, each group has a different way of being scored. So then at the very end, the total score that we get is a 25. And that ends up showing that it is a healthy stream. And just by looking at the numbers here for the pollution intolerant organisms, it tells us it's pretty healthy. So again, pollution intolerant means that those are organisms that do not do well when there is pollution in the water. And pollution sensitive are sensitive to pollution in the water, but they are able to live there. They're just sensitive to it. But pollution intolerant generally are not going to be found in polluted rivers. So the Molly and Brook stream is a pretty healthy stream.